Sides of a story. Sides of a story. Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Hour 106.
When you lose someone you love, your life becomes strange. The ground beneath you becomes fragile. Your thoughts make your eyes unsure, and some dead echo drags your voice down, where words have no confidence. Your heart has grown heavy with loss, and though this loss has wounded others too, no one knows what has been taken from you. When the silence of the silence of absence deepens. Flickers of guilt kindle regret for all that was left unsaid or undone. There are days when you wake up happy, again inside the fullness of life, until the moment breaks and you are thrown back onto the black tide of loss. Days when you have your heart back, you're able to function well until in the middle of work or encounter, suddenly with no warning, you are ambushed by grief. It becomes hard to trust yourself. All you can depend on now is that sorrow will remain faithful to itself. More than you, it knows its way and will find the right time to pull and pull the rope of grief until that coiled hill of tears has reduced to its last drop. Gradually, you will learn acquaintance with the invisible form of your departed, and when the work of grief is done, the wound of loss will heal, and you will have learned to wean your eyes from that gap in the air and be able to enter the hearth in your soul where your loved one has awaited your return all the time.
Where have you been, my brown-eyed son? Where have you been, my darling young one? I've stumbled on the side of great misty mountains. I've walked and I've crawled on 6 crooked highways. I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you see, my brown-eyed son?
Hello.
What
Afternoon.
did you see, my darling young one?
That's
Saw a newborn baby with books all
Mr.
around it.
O'Donoghue.
I saw a highway
John
of diamonds with
O'Donoghue.
nobody on it.
O'Donohue.
I saw a black branch with blood that kept dripping.
No, it's
I saw a room
actually
full of men with their
online.
hammers
While I
a-bleeding.
was researching, looking for
I
other
saw a
pieces.
white ladder all covered with water.
Thank you.
I saw 10,000
Thank you.
bakers
I
whose
can
thumbs
just
were all
imagine.
broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young
Thank you.
children.
Thank you.
It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you hear, my brown-eyed son? Did you hear, my darling young one? I heard the sound of a thunder, it roared out a warning. I heard the roar of a wave that could drown the whole world. I heard 100 drummers whose hands were a-blazing. I heard 10,000 whispers with nobody listening. I heard one person stop, I heard many people laughing. Heard the song of a poet who died in the gutter. Heard the sound of a clown who cried in the alley. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. Who did you meet, my brown-eyed son? Who did you meet, my darling young one? I met a young child beside a dead pony. I met a white man who walked a black dog. I met a young woman whose body was burning. I met a young girl, she gave me a rainbow. I met one man who was wounded in love. I met another man who was wounded with hatred. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What do you do now, my brown-eyed son? What do we do now, my darling young one? I'm a going back out for the rain starts a falling. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest black forest, where the people are many and their hands are all empty, where the pellets of poison are flooding their water, where the home in the valley meets the damp dirty prison, where the executioner's face is always well hidden, where the hunger is ugly, where souls are forgotten, where black is the color, where none is the number. And I'll tell it and think it and speak it and breathe it, and reflect it from the mountain so all souls can hear it. And I stand on the ocean until I start sinking. And I know my song well before I start singing. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. Is a falling. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. Is a falling.
The great James Chambers, Jimmy Cliff, the Honorable James Chambers, OM, giving us his rendition of A Hard Rain Is a Gonna Fall by the great Bob Dylan. This is Jimmy Cliff's rendition. And before that, you heard a piece entitled For Grief by John O'Donoghue. For Grief by John O'Donoghue. It's the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, And 2022 marks the start of the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the 26th day of the first month of 2022, the International Year of Sustainable Mountain Development, the International Year of Basic Sciences for Sustainable Development, the International Year of Glass, and the International Year of Artisanal Fisheries and Aquaculture. Americans are marking January as Human Trafficking Awareness Month and Mentorship Month. Earthquake Awareness Month activities continue here in Jamaica. And it's around this week that our friends at Jamaica Customs normally observe Customs Week. This week is usually observed as Customs Week. In fact, today is International Customs Day. We'll tell you more in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:15. Did you know that the National Irrigation Commission Limited is the sole authority for irrigation systems in Jamaica? The National Irrigation Commission Limited enables the improvement in agricultural productivity through the provision of efficient and affordable irrigation to farmers and other customers. Contact them 977-6624 or 977-6727 or visit their website www.nicjamaica.com to learn more. Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
Jesus, Jesus, oh Jesus, Jesus, oh how I love to call your name.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's The Prayer Line on Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
You shall live, declare the words of the Lord. Amen. You shall be a living testimony. You're on the Lord's side.
I saw a room full of men with their hammers a bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 takers who done for all.
Also being observed today, the 26th of January 2022, it's Australia Day in Australia, Duarte Day in the Dominican Republic, Foundation Day in Santos, Brazil, and Republic Day in India. Hoy es miércoles el 26 de enero 2022 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos.
Who did you meet, my darling young one? I bet a young child is...
C'est mercredi le 26 janvier 2022 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez où que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être à votre service par une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 2h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue.
I'm not going back out for the rain starts a falling. I'll walk to the depths of the deepest black fog.
All we're saying is it's Wednesday, the 26th of January, 2022, and we greet you well, wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome.
And I stand on the ocean until I start sinking. And I know my songs well before I start singing. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's a falling.
Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point. This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Hello to those tuned in via the Power 106 FM app, which you can download from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We acknowledge those who have dialed a designated number to listen to Power 106 FM from the United States and the United Kingdom. Those in the US who wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM can call 631-359-8281, 631-359-8281. And if you're in the United Kingdom and you wish to dial a number to listen to Power 106 FM, you can call 0330-606-0953. That's 0330-606-0953. We're streaming live video on the Dervan Malcolm Facebook page and affiliated pages. If you're not there yet, log on to Facebook at the search box atop the page, type DERVANMALCOLM, and you too will be able to not just hear, but see what's happening in the studios of Power 106 FM. We thank you if you have found other ways and means to listen to Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM, and we look forward to your full participation. After all, it is your program. The numbers to call, 876-922-4112, 876-922-4113, 876-922-4114, and 876-922-4115. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us on WhatsApp. That number is 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346. What's on your mind this afternoon? Quite a bit of ground to cover in that regard. So we still have the monster, the twin-headed monster of crime and violence confronting us as a people. And the murders continue. Montego Bay now up to 25 murders since the start of the year, sadly. And there are still concerns elsewhere across the island as far as as far as crime is concerned. COVID-19 is still with us and is not going anywhere anytime soon. And there is a sense, and this is where, as my late mother would say, may not talk too loud, but the government seems to be suggesting at this stage, having been monitoring the data, that there is a trend, a positive trend, which could have positive implications for Jamaica going forward. Let's see how that goes. Yesterday on this program, we spoke about, well, the issue came up again about bank fees. And we noticed at the Jamaica Stock Exchange conference at the Jamaica Pegasus Hotel this morning, both the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister put their weight behind the people calling on the banks to exercise a greater level of care and concern for their customers, especially those who aren't even in the digital age yet, and that the banks must do better to facilitate these customers. And the fact that it's not fair that I put my money in your bank. Mind you, you can always argue that you're securing my money in your bank and you have to pay for security and insurance and pay salaries, but your salary your salary salary package is pretty much, well, has been decreased significantly because you have let go people, you have closed banks, you have, or branches of your respective banks, you have also eliminated the teller positions in banks. You don't collect money anymore over the counter. So you have, as banks have been putting in place certain cost-cutting measures and staff-cutting measures included in that. And so your costs are not necessarily where they used to be. Let's just call it as it is. And we know you're in the business of making money. That's why you're in the business, to make money. But if making money without morality is really despicable, quite frankly. Without morality, without that mindfulness that is so crucial in our decision-making process. So for what it's worth, both the Prime Minister and the Finance Minister at the Stock Exchange conference tag-teamed the bankers. And it's on the, well, that story is on the front page. Well, the story of the bankers' reply on the front page. They say it actually costs a lot to count money. Counting money is not easy. Can you believe that? They have to charge to count. Yes, that's what they say. That's one of the costs, to count the money, to insure the money, etc. But it's our money. Now, what I'm just wondering, what if we were to all move our funds from your bank? Do you think you would still be able to operate? Seriously. If we were to take away our funds from your bank, we are the ones who have put your financial institution in the position where it is today. You have made money, lots of it, from our money. And surely you can make some adjustments without even flinching, because you are making a lot of money. We're not saying we don't envy you for making a lot of money. We're just saying you should have a little more wiggle room there to be able to cut some slack, cut the unbanked and those with these small amounts in their accounts. You can cut them a little slack. Because God bless what, as my late mother would say, God bless where some of them get for pay. And the little much, they put it in the bank and they try to keep it there for a little while, some of them. And the banks just keep taking money. So if most of what you do now is digital, yes, you have to have the team working behind the scenes to make sure the systems are always up and that the redundancies kick in when they're supposed to, not the redundancy of people, but the redundancies of systems. That process kicks in as well, etc., etc. But we're just saying, give it a little more thought, because apart from the fact that these days you have people burning up in the sun, waiting outside your banks, etc. It's not nice, not a nice feeling. I've had to put up with that kind of thing as well. It's really not nice because you're not even going in an it's not efficient. It's not efficient either. You would think that there would be more efficiency, but apparently not. One moment, please.
100 drummers whose hands were a-blazing. I heard 10,000 whispers.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
Tom, Dick, Harry, or Abby, come out. You may have passed one subject or no subject. Pick up yourself, man. Brush yourself off and go back to school. Get up. No need to be depressed. The Ligani School is offering refresher courses to you with or without CXC subjects. Call the Ligani School. They're registering for January 2022. Give yourself a fresh start. Call the Ligani School at 876-924-3244 for registration.
Under the Law helps you to know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. We've been doing it for 15 years. That's right. Join us on Thursdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and at 9:55 p.m. Compliments of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities. Educating, advocating, empowering. Under the Law, Thursdays on Power 106 FM.
What did you see, my brown-eyed son? What did you see, my darling?
Right, so there is that issue that is raging. And then every now and then, you know how it is, politicians suffer from the foot-in-mouth disease. And so Dayton Campbell has done it again, Dr. Dayton Campbell, referring to Robert Bobby Montague as representing the black side of the Jamaica Labour Party. And just totally unnecessary. Those comments, that kind of comment is a comment of an idler, quite frankly. Those comments are not necessary, especially when you hold certain positions. You know, we really don't have time for that kind of thing, quite frankly. So there was that again. And of course, the opposition leader has been quite strident in terms of what needs to be done. And if it's not done within 60 days, he's already said that Dr. Chang needs to go, and that if the police commissioner doesn't change the strategy, and you have to be so careful when you occupy certain positions, because there's a when it comes on to a police commissioner and who is a public servant, and he's supposed to know something about national safety and security. He served as the head of the army, and he was in charge of security for the entire region for Cricket World Cup back in 2007. When the Olympics in England, his services were enlisted by the organizers of the Olympics. As far as security is concerned, I don't know if I'm talking too much in terms of based on what I know, but he must know something. So on any day, one would be prepared to listen to the police commissioner than to Mark Golding, quite frankly, when it comes to national security on any given day, for obvious reasons. And so Mark Golding doesn't want to put himself, or shouldn't want to put himself, or should be careful not to put himself in a position where he's creating some kind of animosity. Now, how then do you sit down with the police commissioner? Wouldn't it have been better if you were to invite the police commissioner to come and brief your team? And I know security, it's not everybody you can share information with, but we have to be able to trust our government in waiting with sensitive information. So what about Mark Golding inviting the police commissioner to a meeting to brief key members of his team with respect to national security and with respect to how the opposition sees itself in playing a part? Sure, the opposition is not the government, but the opposition is a part of our government. And therefore, instead of from a distance throwing stones at the police commissioner, which I'm not sure, well, maybe I haven't lived long enough. Maybe it has happened before, but I don't know. I know people have always called after a while for the resignation of the police commissioner. Usually they don't call the name necessarily. They just say the police commissioner or the national security minister, etc., to say that they have to go. But usually they take on the political representative. So they would more than likely take on the Minister of National Security, because he's also a member of parliament and obviously a politician. But it's very rare when an opposition leader would take on a police commissioner or would seek to publicly challenge. Nothing is wrong with challenging, but when it comes to national security, we are so divided in this country that we're causing the wrongdoers in this country to become more emboldened because we're busy fighting each other. Those of us who are supposed to be law-abiding citizens, those of us who are supposed to be lawmakers, we're busy fighting each other. And we're not talking about debates, useful debates and discussions, but not the rancorous type that has us almost going at each other's throats. Not that type. In this kind of environment, we need to show a united front when it comes on to fighting. And I don't even like to talk about fighting crime, but really when it comes on to enhancing safety and security in our country. And because we're sending so many mixed signals, the criminals are running amok and doing as they please, because we spend most of our time at each other's throats, as opposed to speaking in one voice when it comes to national safety and security in this country. So we have a lot of work to do in that department, a whole lot of work to do. Disgruntled Garmex workers protest. That's a story trending right now on the Gleaners online platform. Upset workers at the Garmex Heart Academy in Kingston this morning mounted a demonstration. The disgruntled employees say they're disgruntled about the conduct of the director, principal at the institution, Marcine Taylor Brown. And they have since been called to a meeting, apparently. Here's another thing, what we always say on this program, that as big people, as adults, as thinking people, as feeling people, as mindful people, as conscientious individuals, surely we can find a way, we can find more peaceful and sustainable ways of dealing with each other and dealing with issues once they come up. It shouldn't always be necessary to wash our dirty linen in public. There comes a time, yes, when we have to blow the whistle, we blow the whistle. But as a disgruntlement, surely we have enough responsible adults at Garmex Heart Academy who should be able to reason through the situation and arrive at a mutually beneficial position. Oh boy. 527 additional COVID-19 cases is another of the stories trending. 6 more deaths, sadly. And the other story that is doing the rounds now has to do, and it has been for a few days now, since it was first announced that the price of chicken will go up by 10%. And the statement, the quick statement, some people said a little too quick, perhaps needed a little more discussion with the stakeholders. But the minister himself has said, hold on, I didn't say that this is what we're going to do. I was just putting it on the table that if it comes to that, we might have to give due consideration to that, but also taking cognizance of how people have misused in the past. People have misused those opportunities when a little door is opened or a window is open to give the consumers some kind of ease. There are some people, you know the Jamaican term, them love running. So them running upon the thing. And before you know it, it becomes corrupt or corrupted because people are using a window that is supposed to be for legs. They are bringing in, they'll be bringing in back and side and hip and joint and everything and making a killing from it. So it requires, we can't end up doing the same things that we have been doing forever. We know what has happened in the past. So that institutional knowledge is important and must be placed on the table with everything else. And then we work together as a team in the best interest of our people so that we try our best to ensure our people don't go hungry and our people are not deprived of this most valuable protein called chicken or chicken meat. That's the idea. So whatever we do, that decision, the approach has to be surgical and it has to be clinical. And it has to have what they call military precision. We must get it right. Because if we fail to get it right, then our country, the rest of us will lose in more ways than one. We must get it right. That particular decision must not be rushed. We must listen to the stakeholders, can't just come to the table belly aching. They must have alternatives. They must come with suggestions based on their experience, which is supposed to teach wisdom. So that's another subject matter on the table. And there are others, but we're going to leave it there for now and continue to monitor the news tickers to see what else is trending, not just on the Gleaner's website, but from the Jamaica Observer, as well as Loop News, the BBC, CNN, etc. In the meantime, let's get ready for your calls on 876-922-4112-5. That's 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can also call us on WhatsApp. That WhatsApp number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. And as we say, the regular call-in lines, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. We see a lot of you online already, and we welcome you. And the numbers are growing here. Norman Hines in St. Thomas, good to have you on board. Welcome. We'll greet the others and get into further discussions in just a moment.
What did you hear, my darling young one?
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Becky is a deal hunter. She flips through the newspapers every day for great deals on products and services. Wow, I saw the same deal online.
Really? Where?
I found it on G-Commerce.
G-Commerce? What's that?
It's an online site for deals. Here, have a look.
Wow! These are deals that I have just found in a newspaper, plus others I haven't seen before.
Yep. Best of all, you can make the purchases right here on the site and have it either picked up or delivered right to your door.
That's great! Where do I sign up?
Go to gcommerceja.com to sign up and start clicking for the deals. gcommerceja.com, where the best deals are found.
It's gonna fall. What did you see, my brown-eyed son? What?
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon to Calvin in North York, Ontario, Canada. Good to have you online. Hello to your wife as well, Calvin. Audrey Smith says, afternoon, Dervan and listeners everywhere. There's still a lot of pressure on Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Can't wait for the inquiry to end, hopefully by Monday. Hope everyone is keeping well and safe. Take care. Thank you very much for that update, Audrey Smith in Southampton in England, with respect to Prime Minister Boris Johnson and that inquiry into the parties at 10 Downing Street. Jacqueline Simmons, good afternoon to you. Jeannie Chambers, welcome. Kermit Gentle says, Dervan, the president of the Bankers Association, who says it costs a lot to count money. But of course it must cost a lot. NCB money enough. It must cost a lot. Yes. And we know that he's the CEO of NCB, Kermit. Thank you very much. And Kermit says, defending his interest, making sure he gets a very fat bonus at the end of the year. Conflict of interest. I'm sure you're saying that tongue in cheek, but I get the point that you're making. Chuck Ray, I'm afraid we can't read the message as you have sent it, Chuck Ray, with respect to Dr. Campbell, because we're not going to go there. And but you're free to express yourself, but we also have to be careful. We also have to do we have to be gatekeepers here in terms of information that we allow to go out. So we have no evidence of that which you have stated here, Chuck Ray, apart from anecdotal, if people are speaking anecdotally or otherwise. But you need more than that to come to that conclusion. You need much more than that to come to that conclusion. Thank you anyway for your message, Chuck Ray. And let's go across to YouTube and say hello and welcome to Cherry Henry. Good afternoon. Sharon Faith like a mustard seed and says, good afternoon, Dervan. Your opening comment is so true. I lost my mother last year, June, and I'm still grieving. Sometimes in the middle of a happy moment, I remember her, and there I become sad. We feel your pain, Sharon Faith, like a mustard seed. It happens to all of us at some point or another. But you just continue to do what your late mother would want you to do and would be happy to see you doing. And she says, you're such an inspirational person to listen to each day. Big up yourself. You're very kind. Thank you very much for your message, Sharon Faith, like a mustard seed. And let's see. Wind Charmful says, crime in Jamaica is now a cultural problem. It won't go away just by shuffling people in any organization. It is going to outlive COVID if we fail to look in the mirror. Thank you, Wind Charmful, for your message. Let's go to the phone lines now, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello?
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, Dervan. I think these things should be mandatory. The vaccination, the death penalty, and lashing for those who are found with illegal guns. Okay?
And what impact is that likely to have?
Because the people of Jamaica, majority of the Jamaican people would like to have it. Because man who shed man's blood, that's what the Bible teaches. By man, not my brother who, when I got killed illegally, but by government, right? This is a requirement of God himself to government. Okay, man who that shed man's blood, by man his blood shall be shed. Right? That's what the death penalty is all about. It's coming from biblical deeds. You see?
So that is the solution to crime in Jamaica.
Well, whether it's a solution or not, what is justice. Justice I'm dealing with.
We hear you.
Whether it's solved or not, and I am sure, growing up from in the 50s, 40s, coming up, I have seen where the death penalty has been very effective.
How so? How do you measure? What did you use to measure that effectiveness? How did you measure the effectiveness?
Simple as this. When I noticed that they stopped enforcing the death penalty, you don't see how people have been committing crime, murdering people all over the country. Never like this before.
Careful how you say never like this before, because there are those of us who comb through the newspaper, the Gleaners archives on a daily basis, and all that you're saying now, we have read it, we have seen it, we have heard it over and over again over the years in Jamaica.
Well, I know I'm talking about what I know and what I've heard and seen, right? Over the radio and TV. And whether there was never a time like this in Jamaica when murder was so prevalent, Dervan. Never a time.
No, that's not an accurate statement. Just check when you get a chance, access the Gleaners archives, and you will see.
I don't think you know what you're saying here, yes. Dervan. I don't think so.
No, I'm stating facts. And I'm not sure what you are stating, but I'm stating facts.
Well, I'm stating facts.
Yeah.
More facts than what the Gleaner might know.
No, the facts are usually backed up by evidence. And so what you're putting up front is anecdotal evidence, as opposed to evidence based. But anyway, let's we will always romanticize the good old days. The good old days. And we tend to forget that even in the good old days, we had some bad old days. It happens. It's something that man does. It's pretty normal, apparently. It's something that man does. We always romanticize the good old days, the good old days, the good old days.
I'm not, I'm telling you a reality that I've observed, and I talk to anybody my age or older, they will agree with me. And no, let me leave off that.
Well, the evidence is there, so we don't need to add or take away from it.
What's the difference, Dervan, when you use 0 and O? Why I've never heard anybody else use it interchangeable like that.
Just to demonstrate that it can be used interchangeably.
Oh, that's the reason.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you this a long time.
That's the reason.
Yeah, the last thing was that your mother could not be your late mother. She was your early mother. For having such a brilliant son as you are.
You're too kind.
Your early mother, Dervan. She actually your early mother, not your
that
late
is such is the nature of the English language. Such is the nature of the English language. That's all right, man. We're good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for the call. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. Let's clear some of the messages. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. The sustained feeding our people by both administrations on children back, oh, you mean chicken back and fish back, and claim they are doing such a good job. So what is wrong with chicken back? I've been asking the question for years. Isn't it a part of the chicken? All right, so we know it is the bony part. And so what? What about those who love bone? What is wrong with chicken back? Why do people like to badmouth chicken back? There's nothing wrong with chicken back. And I don't know what is fish back, because fish is fish. I don't know of the fish back. I don't know. I think that came up on the political hustings a few years ago about fish back. What on earth is that? I know about chicken back, but not fish back. But anyway, somebody created that. Somebody created that. But please stop bad-mouthing chicken back. Not a thing is wrong with chicken back. In my lifetime, I've had my fair share of chicken back. And I haven't been the worst for it. I'm just saying. We're not afraid or ashamed or otherwise to say that. It's food. It's legitimate food. Anyway, so the message says the sustained feeding of our people by both administrations on chicken back and fish back, and claim that they're doing such a good job. I bet none of our politicians eat chicken back. How do you know that? How do you know that they didn't eat it? Maybe if they don't eat it now, that they weren't eating it when they were children. And some of them, no doubt, would have been forced to eat it as well. Although back then you just ate what you were given, what you were fed. You just ate what you were fed, right? Anyway, so just to wrap up this message, for dinner, I'm calling for better food to be procured. This is unacceptable and we need rapid response from them. Why they continue to feed us on such bad choices? No, but we are the ones who have to choose what we eat. And some of us have to make the choice based strictly on affordability. That's the reality of a lot of our people. They have to make a food choice, a meal choice, simply on the basis of affordability. Let's go to the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear me, sir?
I'm hearing you.
Yes, good afternoon. This is a call from London, England, where Queen Elizabeth II lives. I'm a fourth-generation Jamaican living here. Came at the age of 8. I'm now almost 70. Dervan, I have enjoyed your program for a number of years. And I enjoy and I've learned so much from you about myself and my culture. And I therefore have a question for you. I want to know whether or not you know if any studies have been done as to why we as a people, meaning Jamaican people, no other people, have so much anger in us, and we tend to deal with our disagreement by a very aggressive way, and it tends to lead to violence and eventually leads to murders and death. Has anyone done it, studies on this at UWI in any shape or form or anywhere else?
The Prime Minister, how long ago was this now? Some months ago, the Prime Minister set up what is called the Violence Prevention Commission. Let's talk some more about that in just a moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3 o'clock.
Jesus, Jesus, oh Jesus, Jesus, oh how I love to call your name.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's The Prayer Line on Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
You shall live, declare the works of the Lord. Amen. You shall be a living testimony. You're on the Lord's side.
So it was in 2018 that the Prime Minister first announced that he planned to set up a Violence Prevention Commission. It was subsequently, it became operational in June last year. The commission was empaneled in June last year and started working. So they started in June last year. So it remains to be seen what the findings will reveal to us about why we seem so predisposed to violence and anger and all the other emotions that come with that.
Well, I'm encouraged to hear that, Dervan. I was at the very first diaspora program.
That was downtown at the conference center in 2004.
No, the show when it first started.
Oh, the show.
Mm-hmm. The diaspora with Marlene Mallow, who fought.
Right.
Some 7 years ago. I was one of the contributors here in London.
Right.
And it means a lot to me. I haven't listened to this station in excess of 3 years because I've been a bit ill, but things are not too bad now.
Oh, that's encouraging news. Sorry to hear you were ill.
But to my mind, I feel I listened to you for the very first time in over 3 years. And I hear the same problems that I heard all those years ago.
That's what I was trying to say to the caller who was on earlier on, that the evidence, and I know the evidence will bear me out, that we have been at this point and I say it all the time, we have been at this place for a very long time.
It saddens me personally, Dervan.
It is sad.
Here we are in the diaspora. I arrived here in the UK at 8 and I'm almost 70. And here we are, 4 generations of my family have been here. And we're still hearing this. And my children and grandchildren, they love Jamaica so much. I took them there 2017, collectively, 17 of us.
Wow.
Even my 4-year-old grandson, a 6-year-old granddaughter, and they'd say things such as, why can't we live in Jamaica? Why do we have to live in England?
Yes.
They enjoyed it that much. And I didn't keep them in the hotel. I took them to the school, OT primary. So they spent time with children of their similar age, and they spent time with children.
Yes.
And it was wonderful and a marvelous education. One of the greatest holidays I've ever had in my life. But it saddens me to hear this, because I wish I knew the answer, and that's why I had to start off by asking you the question I did.
Yes.
And I wish that we could help. At my age, I wish I could return and retire there rather than retire here. I am a retired man, but I wish I could have some of the sunshine and the cool breeze and the drinks and the food, and give something back to the country. But with the violence, I wonder if people actually understand. It frightens an old man like me.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you worried.
Yes.
I actually hate talking about it, because I know it's not just Jamaicans listening to this. I've traveled to Grenada, St. Lucia, Antigua, most of the Caribbean. They love us, regardless of what people think. But other people are listening to this who are non-Jamaican. And what's an impression we are giving to others? It kind of destroys all what Usain Bolt and Shelly Ann Fraser, the bobsleigh team, reggae music, jerk chicken, all of that. It kind of destroys that, this violence and trouble. I'm not much of a Christian or a practicing Christian. I'm not proud of that. But I want the listeners to understand that this is not some person who's coming from that perspective, although I have been brought up in the church and I do understand that. But I just think your program highlights some interesting points. And I just wish I knew something we could do to help. It saddens us. But can I tell you this as well, as with all the listeners? Not only does it happen in Kingston, Jamaica, Montego Bay, Jamaica, or wherever, after 4 generations, the same thing happens here in the UK. In Jamaica, they tend to kill using the gun. Here, we kill using the knives.
Yes.
And unfortunately, whether you are Jamaican or not, the Jamaican gets labeled with that. Oh, he's a Jamaican. Mm-hmm. It's so sad, but we love the country, we love the culture, we love the people. But the children and the fourth generation children, third generation children are an old Jamaican way, patronizing themselves as to what they see and hear going on in the mother country, the rock, Jamaica. People don't realize how much Jamaica is loved, and Jamaicans are loved. So what goes on there eventually affects us here, in Canada, US, wherever we live. And I wish I could work some miracle to make us understand that. We're going to destroy ourselves as a people if we continue like this. I really think it's that bad. We need to somehow find a solution. And I'm glad to hear that you say a study has begun, and maybe we can begin to correct things. But the people themselves must understand. Their grandma didn't bring them up like that.
Yes.
Their mom didn't bring them up. Father didn't bring them up like that. Why are you like this?
Mm-hmm.
Bob Marley was right. They made the world so hard every day. We just keep fighting. I'm sure he didn't mean this killing, but look what it has led to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, and I love the program. I respect you immensely. I've learned so much about myself in the last 7-8 years. I used to talk to the great Matty Perkins, with their pastor.
Yes.
Power 106 is like part of me. I love it.
Yes.
Love it.
Well,
and keep doing the great job you're doing, Dervan.
Thank you. And thank you so much. It was quite refreshing to hear from you this afternoon. Please call again.
I will, sir. God bless you.
Bless you too. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Kermit says, defending his interest, making sure he gets, we read that already. from Kermit in reference to the CEO of NCB. Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. To you too, Velta Wilson. Andrea Jackson says, blessings, Dervan. Blessings, Andrea Jackson. Rudy Page is always in sunny London. Even when it's pouring, it's raining cats and dogs, Rudy Page messages us to say, hello from sunny London. He says, the fear is more seriously now. He says, the fear is more terrifying than the reality in reference to the state of affairs with respect to crime and violence in Jamaica. He says there are many good people in Jamaica tackling the fear to the best of their abilities. Thank you, Rudy Page, for your perspective. Hello to Lorna. She says, good day, the bank worse than the scammers. Well, I wouldn't go there with you, Lorna. I can understand your frustration and your anger, but you would need evidence to prove that a banker or a bank is engaged in scamming. Let's come back to more messages in a moment, but first, your calls, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Yes, I give thanks.
Greetings.
You see, the cleaners account of the history has been factual. It can only be credible as the accuracy of the reporters that furnish those information, you know.
Yes, and they have reported on what has happened. You and your line, Raskava, geez. They can only report what has happened. And what is obvious is that we have had thousands of killings over the last 10 to 15 years in this country. And the killings continue. And we have, the police statistics are also there to back up the stories in the Gleaner. But these things, the Gleaner couldn't report in its broadest sense, in the original sense, that something that never happened, like a death, for example, a murder, that it never happened, when in fact it happened. So there are some things that you can't make a mistake with. Lord, your line is not good, Raskava.
You still not hear me?
A little better there.
When they report that there are thousands of people killed in a particular time, that is only what is reported. What about those that was not reported?
If you know about those, please tell the police, Raskava.
That's not the point. I was saying that what the cleaner said was credible to the factual reporters' report. Because the reporter don't hear about it. There's no way you can be certain, say, well, 1,000 people were killed when it was 1,004 or 1,005.
We can only report what we know, Raskava. That's what we do. We report what we know.
The truth is there with evidence.
And I stand by that because I go through the archives every single day.
Yeah, but what is recorded in the archive is what is reported. That don't mean say that's all that happened.
No, but Raskava, why are we going to detain ourselves with all that has happened when we have in front of us what has happened? We can only report. We can only report on what we know.
Right. You can report on. You can only talk about.
And that is the evidence that we have. If you have otherwise, then bring it forward. If you have otherwise, bring it forward. But other than that, they can a police matter, a crime, a murder is reported on the basis that it can be confirmed that it happened. Hello? Yes.
Sometimes the two radio TV stations will make reports on the same incident, and they have two different things have said to be said about it, because it depends on who they got their information from.
No, but the facts should remain unchanged. The facts are the facts. So they can always report using different styles. But the facts are the facts.
No, it's not the style of reporting the information shared, because the two people claim that they were eyewitnesses and the two different reports of the same incident. But anyway,
did somebody die?
Where they die and how they die.
Or did somebody die?
Yes.
All right.
How they died, two different reports on that.
Can't be two different reports. And if there can be, no, and you're speaking in a vacuum, Raskava. That's what is happening now, because you can't point to a specific case where that was the you can't point to a specific case because you haven't done that. You are speaking in general terms, in a vacuum. Yes. Yeah, but one moment, please. One moment.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:15.
The Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, is now being onboarded to the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, J-SWIFT. Effective January 20,
Always.
2022,
Always.
J-SWIFT will be facilitating online applications for all JACRA import permit releases. Traders and their agents will now
Right.
be able to make online payments
Exactly.
for JACRA.
Exactly.
Benefits will include faster processing times and increased convenience, facilitating trade and doing business. No more walk-ins or waiting in lines.
That's right.
The JACRA import permit release
Exactly.
service, effective
Exactly.
January 10.
No, it's the usual. It's the
on
usual.
J-SWIFT.
Yeah. Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Poro 106 FM. Raskava is about to give us the evidence. Go ahead with the evidence, Raskava.
Your experience, your truth, and so is mine.
Raskava, you have cast aspersions at the people in the media on how they report on certain matters. And I'm saying to you, it would help your argument if you were to present evidence at this point to a specific story, let's have that specific story.
That I have a choice that to be more specific than that.
Well, don't raise the issue, Raskava. Don't raise it. If that's what you're going to do, don't raise it. If that is what you're going to do, don't raise it, because what you're doing then is flying a kite, Raskava. You're flying a kite. So you can't, your argument has no legs, Raskava. You have no legs to stand on. That's a fact. Everybody's listening to you, Raskava. You don't have any legs. Then why did you raise the subject, Raskava? You do not raise it unless you can back it up. You can't back it up.
If you tell a lie after it becomes somebody else's truth.
I don't know. Lying is a dangerous thing, Raskava, because to tell a lie, you must know the truth.
Right.
To tell a lie, you must know the truth.
Yeah, but however you choose to lie, and it becomes somebody else's truth.
Raskava, come on, let's move on, because you're having one of those days. You're having one of those days, Raskava, when you decide to play the devil's advocate. All right, so we get it now. Raskava. You chose to play the devil's advocate this afternoon. That's what I'm saying. You chose to play the devil's advocate this afternoon. So let's move on now.
Chicken bones that is fed to so-called third world countries, and it's only because they get to find out that and get a steak and poor man's steak. So there's a market for it, but they don't eat it. They say the bone from a place that is called Third World, and then they are the rest side. So it is not the best part of chicken and then come the people.
No, it is for those of us who have visited a few places in the United States and eaten at a few restaurants in the United States. We have seen it.
Chicken back tell you?
We have, of course.
Right, because they are copied from Jamaica and I said, well, we never know say
Rascava. Anyway, yes. I think you just decided to come on and have some fun this afternoon.
The minister, agricultural minister says, in can get chicken bone, you are $100 thereabout, or $100 something for the start. And then the retailers, they don't can sell it for $160 instead of the people that buy it for over $300 a pound. So you see how instead of make the situation level the playing ground that people now have to stick to buy the lab, the less things for to eat, but they can buy the same thing where anybody else can eat. Imagine how worry yourself, man. You're going to some cheap chicken bones in there. No worry. Nobody can sound on them chicken. I don't like that statement.
Well, as we said earlier on, based on what has happened before in this country with respect to chicken meat, that it is essential that all the stakeholders are at the table and that we are surgical, methodical, scientific, meticulous, and design-oriented in arriving at a decision, because it has implications for everybody. It has implications for everybody. We do have small poultry farmers right across this country who supply the big firms, and whatever decision is made will have implications for all of us in more ways than one. So whomever is in charge or has responsibility to make those decisions have to be very, very cerebral, have to be very thoughtful, and the decision must be data driven. And we have enough information on some of the things that have happened in the past that have robbed the country of revenues and caused and negatively impacted local producers. We cannot afford for those things to happen again.
Right. That's the point I want to make in lesser words. Because nobody now go and buy the small farmers. So no matter how dear the chicken feed is, that them have to sell it that way, they're not busy, them all buy the cheaper one. And those persons are going to stop them chicken, are going to go overweight. Nobody no want them again, because they're too heavy. And all of those implications, losing revenue and their investment. So and they must stop import the things that we produce here. It means farm produce, whether being livestock or ground provision. When it can grow here, give our farmer first preference, and then provide deal chicken back when they have, they not too much share. One time they carry something from where they say a mutton or a kangaroo, where they say at 20 years they have it in storage that was reported. And yet they send it come to this place because especially America don't send where they freshly reproduce everywhere now. They stockpile food because there's a war country, so they always attack from the back to make space for you.
No, it's a simple principle. The simple principle of a country taking care of its people first, or as we say in Jamaican parlance, passing christening picnic first. We expect to operate like that. But the fact of the matter is there has to be a balance. There has to be a balance in terms of the decision that is made. That's why I'm saying we must apply all the thinking and the analysis and the projections. We must not leave anything out. That's what we are saying. Because if it is that the item the item is available in Jamaica and is produced in Jamaica, and the price proves to be prohibitive to people right here in Jamaica, then there has to be some kind of adjustment. And I think what has been put on the table is the possibility, the potential, depending on the outcome of the talks and the discussions with the stakeholders, the possibility of supplementing the source of supply.
That's going to be done when there's a shortage and the goods cannot be had in the country. But you don't say you don't compete with what is here.
Yeah, well, as we said, Raskava, whoever is going to be making the decisions, the people who are going to be involved in making the decision, they have to consider every single angle and make sure that that decision that is made, that final decision, is in the best interest of Jamaica and Jamaicans.
So there should be no announcement before it is done. That means when you say it's something that you would have thought of, all the pros and cons taken care of, and you come up with the best solution. Don't come with it, go hype up people and say, yeah man, we can't get cheap chicken now. Don't do that to the people then.
Yeah, well, that's a matter of style or lack thereof on the part of the person delivering the information. But again, at the same time, those of us in communication know that the key thing is getting your narrative out there first. Other than that, you'll be playing catch up.
I was going to depart a little, but I just take you that 30 seconds that I had left. Queen and Singer, the sister who slaps were missing after she got to jail and I'm going to come out back with it. They are now putting another charge on her named disorderly conduct. And although the DPP cannot report on the Indicom's file that Indicom sent to her, and now them are keep it that is 9 day one day nobody no member, and the 3rd of next month again is another court where them will put another charge for her after that. So we'll be gathering there to show our support for her and to launch our discourse on how this injustice system is working.
Well, she is a Jamaican and therefore has access to the justice system here in Jamaica. Whatever we think about it, we are still a country of laws. So we let's see how it plays out in court.
Ask the DPP and someone from the office why a report has to be taking so long from last year, July, until now. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for the call. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's see, Davin, what you have on that one. I have 16 minutes on this one. Or the one that you have was holding longer. So, Dr. Williamson, you have a little, thanks for calling. You have a little wait because there was a caller ahead of your call. Let's go to that caller. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, please.
Yes. Dervan, I would like to ask you if a country is run by a republic, what's the head of the country?
A president.
Like America.
Yes.
So we don't have opposition.
Yes.
That they can oppose.
Yeah.
Like they are doing now.
Mm-hmm.
Why is a republic better than the Queen?
Why is well, there are some people who think it's full time that we shed the relics, what they call the relics of colonialism, that we have long emerged from the shadows of the Queen and the monarchy, and that we should have our own hybrid system,
Yeah.
because it wouldn't be it wouldn't be original anyway. It's a hybrid system, a combination of what we had before, or most of what we have had before, with changing the head of state from a governor general who represents the Queen to a Jamaican president who represents all of us as Jamaicans.
So, Dervan, my opinion is this. I think those people have looked after us better than our own, you know.
You think they being under British rule was better for Jamaica?
Yes, in most ways.
In most ways. All right. Tell us about those ways after the break, please.
Importers, provide proper invoices for customs when presenting goods for examination. This could prevent delays during clearance. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is
3:30. Become the hero on the scene by taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as you get all the facts. Don't listen to the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to sit face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safer for everybody, from the young to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally when things were more orderly? And if you want to live a long good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated along with the heroes on the front line. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Jesus, oh Jesus, oh how I love to call your name.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's The Prayer Line on Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
You shall live and declare the works of the Lord. Amen. And you shall be a living testimony here on the Lord's side.
I saw one trial covered with water.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding.
Yes. I'm talking about the justice system with the police, and I know that the police can't.
You're suggesting that that is one area which was better under British rule?
Yes, and even now, because I know if it was in England and you call the police does not matter if you call 20 times. That they're trying to save your life, but out here you'll be dying. And when after you die and your blood curdled up before they came. And I don't trust our Caribbean something. What they call it?
The Caribbean Court of Justice?
Yes, I don't trust it either.
But it's our people who are involved, Caribbean people, including Jamaicans.
Yes, I know. It doesn't matter if it's who is in a certain thing, and you don't think you don't have a liking for it. I'm not gonna like it.
Oh, I see.
And the other thing is, what is a commonwealth? Don't a commonwealth is something like partner? Don't. Everybody chew this and chew that and chew that.
No, that's not what. No, that's not what it is. But in the case of there are a couple of first of all, a commonwealth One definition is that of an independent country or community, especially a democratic republic. There's another definition that speaks to an aggregate or grouping of states or other bodies. So you have a union or commonwealth of democratic self-governing countries, for example. It's also referring to a community or organization of shared interests in a non-political field. So, for example, the Christian Commonwealth or the Commonwealth of Letters. It also refers to a self-governing unit voluntarily grouped with the US, like Puerto Rico, for example. The island of Puerto Rico became a Commonwealth of the United States in 1986. And then it's also a formal title for some of the states of the United States. So, for example, you'll hear them saying the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Virginia. And then there is the Commonwealth, which is the Republican period of government in Britain between the execution of Charles I in 1649 and the restoration of Charles II in 1660. And it goes on. The Commonwealth of Nations, that's the international association made up of UK, that's the United Kingdom, together with states that were previously part of the British Empire. So that's also known as the Commonwealth. So it's...
Okay, thank you. But one last thing.
Yes.
The government can't go hanging people unless they prove that they are the one who killed somebody, don't?
Well, that is how the justice system is supposed to work, where hanging is the penalty, yes?
Yes, because sometimes people are in the wrong place at the wrong time. Taking shortcuts, a lot of people have been killed in the country, so they are stealing gold. It's not gold, them really got to steal, you know. They probably went to use the bushes. Are taking shortcuts from somewhere, and they kill them, or they can't just kill for kill like that. So the rest of the new year it's late, but make it happy for yourself, and it was your birthday.
No.
I'll call again, okay?
All right, thanks for the call. Take care.
Okay.
This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to Dr. Williamson, who is becoming a regular contributor to Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. And good afternoon.
Greetings, Dervan. Greetings, Dervan. Greetings. I feel like I'm now addicted to the program. I find that I spend most of my afternoons listening to both sides of the story. Because it's the only place I can go get news in the diaspora about what's going on. Well, I don't know if it's the only place. You might be able to tell me of some others, but it is my preferred place to listen to news about what's going on in Jamaica as a person who lives in the diaspora. So I call you from London, where I'm 5 hours ahead of you. And as I listen to the topics that were discussed, both by Rascava, who, by the way, somebody should start a GoFundMe to get him a proper phone, because I was a loud echo in his phone. Mm-hmm. But in terms of the topics that have been discussed today and in recent days, I think the common theme for me, Dervan, is leadership. And I say that, I hope I can illustrate it by 3 examples. The first thing you talked about was criminality and crime. The explosion of crime. The fact that it's been going on for a number of years now, and we don't seem to be able to arrest it no matter who is in power. So when I heard, for example, that the opposition leader yesterday called for a 60-day timeline for the police commissioner to deliver on crime reduction strategies that are non-SOE based. speaks to me of someone who is exhibiting what I'm calling executive leadership. Now, there are those who on the other side will disagree with MP Goldie, who is actually Georgetown's MP, so it's a person that is known to me. But if you can't set timelines and deliverables as a leader, then all we're going to have is the politics of the usual. In other words, if you do the same thing over and over again, you should not expect to get a different result. It is the definition of idiocy, some famous scientist once said. So, I'm not sure if it's 60 days, but maybe it's 90 days. But what MP Golding did yesterday was, I think, an exercise in good leadership, setting timelines and deliverables and saying we're going to judge you by those results. Now, on the contrary, in terms of economic activity and economic growth in Jamaica, the government of Jamaica has set up what's called an Economic Growth Council, and I know a couple of people on the council personally, so I hope my dispassionate analysis doesn't offend anyone. But Orville Hill, who's known to me, and of course you know Michael Leachin is on the council, Dervan and others, and they said we're going to deliver 5% growth in 4 years. Now you know, Dervan, that we've not met that target, right?
Yeah.
So therefore, it is incumbent upon the Prime Minister now to say, you have not delivered, I'm firing everybody, let's change course. In other words, just as I would do it in one of my portfolio companies, or if I'm consulting for a business, I'm going to say, here are the targets, here's the timeline, here are the resources that I have to get there. Now get it done. And I'm going to measure your performance based on milestones or an overall assessment of what you've done over the timeline which you said you're going to get it done. And when we don't have to be accountability. Last example is COVID management. The government stated goal is 70% vaccination rate or 65% by March of this year. Today, I believe we're around 22%. We're not going to get there. I can guarantee you that. So therefore, somebody has to be made to be accountable for this failure, because the goal was clear, the resources you have are clear, you have somebody in leadership. Why are we not, therefore, when he did this reshuffle, saying to Dr. Tufton, and Dr. Tufton, I know all these people, so I don't want to be too critical of anybody, but I'm saying you have to be listening to Dr. Tufton that you had a good go of it, but you failed to deliver on my objective of 65-70% vaccination rate, which is what herd immunity represents. And so what you saw throughout the thread of the examples I gave is that there is a little lack of executive type leadership, where people are set timelines, deliverables that are clear, resources that are afforded to you and available to you, and then a leader that can execute on the things that we've just set in motion. And when it doesn't occur, if Commissioner Anderson cannot reduce crime, or at least put a path to reduction in the escalation of murder, where a 10% increased already so far this year. Something over 112 murders I saw was the last time I checked so far this year. And we have to be able to say, listen, Major Anderson, thank you for your service, but you're not doing the job. Now, I'd love to hear what your thoughts on those statements there.
Well, we have seen and heard that before. We have constantly changed ministers of national security, commissioners of police, and the situation continues unabated. we're relying too much on one individual and yes, leaders must lead. There are no two ways about that. But if you are going to move from one to the other, surely the difference must be so stark or so dramatic that it shows up the ineffectiveness of the person who previously occupied the position. But if things remain the same, then it's an indication perhaps that the requirement is more than just about one person or two people leading national security in this country.
That's an excellent point, Dervan. And for those who didn't hear it, I would like to give it a little bit of emphasis. What he said, and in my paraphrasing of it, is that we have to have the right person that will be able to deliver the thing. So as an example of where the government has chosen the right person for the job, I choose Dr. Nigel Clark.
For the job of National Security Minister?
Second, please? No.
Oh.
Not as a National Security Minister, but as a person who based on his experience and preparation, is in the right role as Finance Minister. Because not only was the road scholar, I know him from my time at Oxford.
All right, hold on. We need to take a break. One moment. After the break, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45.
It's probing.
There has not been a single year since 1974 where the poor has not been oppressed by the state. Precisely.
Spurring action to move Jamaica forward.
I know people are out there screaming, yes, but it's not just this government. I don't cheer. Fix it and stop spinning. Govern, man, govern. Whoever is there.
Featuring The Bottom Line with Ralston Hyman, the best public affairs banter on Jamaican radio.
Part of the national campaign against inflation, we have to have a shake-up of the public sector boards leading to increased efficiency, cut the corruption and the mismanagement, and get the agencies to function in a more efficient manner.
It's Power Talk, weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Identifying challenges and finding solutions in a globalized world. Dr. Herbert Gale on Mondays and Tuesdays. Simon Crosskill from Wednesday to Friday on Power 106 FM. Join us.
Those whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you hear, my brown-eyed son?
Thanks for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding, Dr. Williamson. Go ahead, please. Hello? Dr. Williamson, over to you. Hello? I think he has muted the call on WhatsApp. So we might have to move on and come back. Let's try again. Dr. Williamson, please go ahead, please. Please go ahead.
Greetings.
Yes.
Thank you, Dervan. As you went to the break, we were talking about the right person in the right role.
Yes.
And I was giving the example of Dr. Nigel Clark, a person who's a finance expert, traders in, I think his PhD is in actuarial science or something like that. Now he's well equipped to be finance minister. Not only is he, spent time in investment banking at Goldman Sachs, but he ran one of the largest companies in Jamaica for a number of years. I'm not sure how they co-opted him to go into government and represent in politics, but however he did it, they found the right person for the right role. And I think that's where we're having some lack of connectivity in government of Jamaica at this time. Because we have a parliamentary democracy system where your ministers have to come from your elected officials, you either have to have a first-class leader or you have to have somebody who has expertise in the field. And I don't believe that Dr. Chang, for example, has exhibited that in terms of Ministry of National Security, the one you were highlighting, which is one of the main challenges we have. Because I'm not sure what his doctorate is in, or whether
he's a medical doctor.
But maybe you can inform me, Dervan.
He is a medical doctor.
He's a medical doctor.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in the right role. Maybe he should be in health, instead of Dr. Tufton, who's obviously a PhD. So what I'm saying to you is, we have to find the right leaders for the right role. Can we find somebody in government who's a criminology expert to lead the Ministry of National Security that will be able to deliver better results than what Dr. Chang is delivering? I mean, if I was a CEO of a company and my performance objective or my company's goal was to reduce crime, and I'm delivering what Dr. Chang has been delivering for the past 5 years or however long he's been in the Ministry of National Security, I would be fired. I'd be fired in the first term, not in the second term. So I'm saying the Prime Minister has to then take some responsibility in trying to make sure that as he does his cabinet reshuffle, and he did one recently, that you put the right people in the right role, because otherwise we're going to continue to get people who are underperforming, and what you're doing, as you said, is just shuffling the chairs. You need to put the right person in the right role, and then you can set the sort of metrics that I've been talking about: deliverables, timelines, budget, and then assess based on the outcomes.
We hear you loud and clear.
Thank you, Dervan, for the time as always. And I'm going to try to call it less frequently. I always wanted to contribute because it's such a great platform for the diaspora. Yes. I hope that more of my diaspora colleagues will also lend their expertise and voice into what we're doing in Jamaica, because we want to be able to come home like the Bridget who called earlier said, the guy from London.
We need all hands on deck.
And you can't come home to the sunshine.
Mm. Yeah, out of fear because of what's been happening. Not good, not good.
And his fear is not unwanted, because I have some colleagues from Britain who went, older folks who went back home to Manchester and they were murdered. So is that because people know they're from foreign and from England and they live in Manchester where most of the expats are living, and they were targeted on their way from paying up their pension. So these are kinds of things that would cause fear in anybody, particularly if you're sort of a late career person who's retired or a retired person like the folks I'm describing are. You are going to be fearful. So you want to be able to come home to what it's going to be and then you also bring all the resources of your time in the diaspora with you to be part of economic growth for the country in some ways.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep the dialogue going. Thanks for the call. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
Are you hearing me, sir?
I am fine. Thanks, Mr. Wilson. How are you?
Well, man. There, man.
Good.
The last caller was saying that somebody could sponsor Ratcaba phone, but I think that caller there could sponsor him.
Well, he's still listening, so who knows?
Yeah, man, because Ratcaba is one of the longest caller from 4106,
Really?
Yeah, I believe so.
Oh.
He and that lady from over, what's her name, June.
June in Norway.
Yeah, man. One lady was saying that she prefer
British rule rather than British rule.
Yeah, and yes. I prefer it,
You too?
Yeah, I visit Cayman more than one time, and I see how the British rule one about there, and it's all right.
Okay.
Cayman is a nice place, man. Mm-hmm. And the place somebody clean and thing.
Yes.
Dirty like Jamaica and gunfire like Jamaica.
What a pity.
Well, man, I prefer the English rule, man.
We hear you.
Yeah, man. Take care.
You too. Thanks for the call.
Yeah, man. Respect.
Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live. Let's go to Curtis on the text line, same as the WhatsApp number. Curtis in Claremont, St. Anne. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and all listeners.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir. Mr. Malcolm, when Mr. Dan Webby, I was so disappointed at Mr. Dan Webby. And if Mr. Dan Webby, when Mr. Dan
What's the source? Let's not take it for granted that everybody listening knows what you're talking about. What's the source of your disappointment?
Yeah, when he was delivering in the Senate the other day, Mr. Dan Webby sounded like a whole politician from in the 40s, which I was listening to a fresh voice from Mr. Dan Webby, thinking different, chatting a different part. When he was talking about the whole also and through the PMT, the child get killed in Mopi and all things like that, through the state of emergency. Mr. Dan Webby should be ashamed of himself. I was listening to hear something more substantial from Mr. Dan Webby. Person like Mr. Dan Webby and Albany and those man. When they come into government, we want to hear a different voice, a different tone. We don't want to hear the same whole politics thing and things like that. No, waste of resources there. So I'm so disappointed. And I'm saying that the thing with this commissioner of police, different from the rest. This one was handpicked by the government. The rest of commissioner, they come from I think the service commissioner or something.
The public service, the police services commission.
Yeah, they are the ones select them. So this should have never happened again. That a commissioner of police come from anywhere in the politics. It should be independent person. We know we are voter. We will vote for who we want to vote for. But it shouldn't be somebody where everything the government says like the government water boy. Anything the government says.
No, I don't think that's an appropriate comment about the government's water boy. That's not an appropriate comment. Mr. Whatever we think of his stewardship as police commissioner, his track record, if you want to put the position of police commissioner aside, his track record is of international proportions, with the work that he did being in charge of security for the 2007 Cricket World Cup in the Caribbean, also being invited by and his services being enlisted by the organizers of the Olympics in London in terms of security, and other areas in which he has served. And so I know it's very easy when we're upset, when we're angry, we want more, we want better, we're dissatisfied, by all means, but there's no need to engage in character assassination, right? That's not necessary. By all means, criticize his decisions or choices or lack actions or inaction, etc. But we have to try and move away from this business of character assassination because it's not necessary.
Truly. Yeah, truly. But what I'm saying is that like anything the government it's like the government is directing the commissioner instead of like he has his own without
no, but the government has no basis on which to lead in this regard, because if the government, whether this one or the ones before, if they had the answers, we would not be having this discussion now. And therefore, they are obliged or should be obliged to listen to the security experts, the people who study this, the people who have lived this, the people who have demonstrated in all other spheres their competence. So the government is obligated or should be obligated to listen to the security experts. Now, the same government can also, in a sense, fire the security experts if they believe that the security experts have not delivered on certain commitments, etc. But of course, invariably it will come back to the government, because the government is supposed to provide the resources and the legislation to facilitate the national safety and security. So it is not as straightforward as it seems. Just fire the police commissioner and everything will be all right. Absolutely not. We have seen this before. We have seen this movie before, I'm afraid.
No, the thing, only what I would like to see, Mr. Malcolm, only like a sense of direction. Where someone come in, we know that a commissioner of police by his own cannot really stop crime in the country. And a security minister of his own cannot really stop crime in the country. They don't have the answer on their own. But what we want to see a sense of direction. We don't want to really over years on you continue about just state of emergency. No, it's set out something we can really see and say, well then, this look workable and this look like the end of the day, just like if in a relationship. And my wife and I dear, she wants to be progressive.
Sorry, hold a moment, please. One moment. Commercial break.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock. Sip a cuppa.
Sip a cuppa?
Yes, sip a cuppa.
Sip a cuppa what?
Sip a cuppa Untitled Jamaican Moringa tea bags. Sip a cuppa Moringa, turmeric, vervine, neem, and guinea hen wheat tea bags today. Sip a cuppa tea is available in supermarkets island-wide. So sip a cuppa today. You'll be happy you did. Distributed by Caramel Group Limited.
On 6 crooked highways, I've stepped in the middle of 7 sad forests. I've been out in front of a dozen dead oceans. I've been 10,000 miles in the mouth of a graveyard. It's a hard rain. It's gonna fall. What did you see, my brown-eyed son? What did you see, my darling young one? Saw a newborn baby with wolves all around it. I saw a highway of diamonds with nobody on it. I saw a black branch with blood that kept dripping. I saw a room full of men with their hammers bleeding. I saw a white ladder all covered with water. I saw 10,000 takers whose tongues were all broken. I saw guns and sharp swords in the hands of young children. It's a heart.
Que ahora es en español, son las 4:02 que le retiro en français, les 4:02. 现在地点了4:02分, 2 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon, here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding. So we get the point you're making, which is an understandable point. You're saying you want to see and feel a greater sense of direction and obviously protection. You want it must be palpable to you for you to really support the efforts of whoever occupies the position of police commissioner and or minister of national security, etc. And that's a reasonable position to take.
Yes, you want to see when you see some plans in place. And as I say, if I take a lady and if I'm my wife and nothing that's going on, but she see where there's some some idea that in the future things will go on. But we don't see Mr. Malcolm. There's one thing, just pushing one thing, just state of emergency. What is the plan? What is the plan? After the state of emergency, we have the 1 year and add. What you achieve from it. You see what I'm saying? And I'm saying that they have a great shortage of police. I'm saying that why they don't engage, you have some strong police, men and women who retire from the force and in good standing. I'm talking about the persons who health-wise are in good health and character-wise are in good standing. Why they don't really engage them and see if they can get them back to really spend a next year or two in the force?
Yeah.
To really help show the boots on the ground.
Well, one of the best suggestions I've heard so far is from the former National Security Minister, K.D. Knight, in a conversation with Emily Shields. K.D. Knight suggested that if we want to demonstrate that this time is different, or this time will be different in terms of how we manage national safety and security in this country, then a good place to start would be to invite those still living, the former ministers of national security, former police commissioners, and people in that realm, and those. In other words, what he said is that you want to demonstrate that you're not going for the same old. You want to start by hearing from all those who have walked this road of trying to help to keep Jamaica and Jamaicans safe. Bring them all to the table. Bring them all to the table and see if coming out of that wealth of experience, however they did, whether good or bad, they would have accumulated some experiences. They would know what worked and what didn't based on their own practical experience, and then you take it from there. You take into account all that they have said, and you identify some of the possible points that you will take forward. And you also go the next step in terms of synchronizing some of those thoughts, ideas, plans, suggestions, strategies with the current team of national security strategists, and you build on the body of work to the point where you can clearly craft a clear strategy, where you can craft a clear strategy and give people that sense that, all right, we're not doing the same old. This seems different. And an example of that would be the zone of special operation. That, as I've said before on this program, is an excellent idea. That if given the resources, and if all that is supposed to happen happens, that is supposed to work like clockwork and multiplied across the 20 to 25 communities where most of the crimes are committed in this country. So, sorry, I think I've been talking too much. Go ahead.
And with that conversation with Mr. Knight and Mrs. Shield, sometime in the same week, Dr. Oris Strong have a conversation with Sanjay Lewis. and he referred to him as like the world giant of approach. And Mr. Chang basically said that, well, they can't talk to somebody else like you know, really, him not talking because you know, really talking, everybody know what can be done, everybody know what is to be done already. So it's like Mr. Chang is a man that you want to, if you feel like he can do it on his own, and then that will never help. And as Mr. KB Knight was saying that, QC was saying that he have conversation with our former security minister, Dwight Nelson, Robert Mandicu, and all of them. But Mr. Chang, Dr. Chang never call him, never invite him to a conversation yet. He said Robert Mandicu invite him, they have like lunch together and things like that. So Dr. Chang never do it. So it's like, if we look, Dr. Chang is a man of ego. Like,
or could it be that Dr. Chang was trying to do something different, to be different? I'm just playing the devil's advocate here. Since we're all calling for something different, so that everybody else did that and he has decided, well, he's going to do something else.
Yes, and we can see that he's trying to do something different because the whole state of emergency, you know, and the security minister never push it that much. So
yes.
He's really trying to do something different.
But part of it too is the politics, and we cannot escape the politics, and that's a big part of the problem. So there are people who want to be the ones to say, we fixed crime in Jamaica, we made Jamaica safer, etc. Everybody wants to be able to say that. And so it would suit you, if you have the reins of power, to let it, what the song says, let it be me, to say let it be me, the one to say we fixed crime or we made Jamaica safer. So you have that, the competitive nature of the politics, the partisan nature of the politics, like Salah, who is sending me a message here on the Power 106 FM WhatsApp. Salah, I'll just share a quotation with you. There is nothing more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. There is nothing more dangerous than sincere ignorance or conscientious stupidity. That's my response, Salah. Thank you very much. So the partisanship, the petty partisanship is not helping either. That's a part of it. Everybody wants to be the one to say we did it. And if it looks as if you are going to do it, well, I have to try and spin that. And so you can't escape the politics one way or another. And because of that, we can't speak in one voice as a people to say we are united against crime in Jamaica. How many of us can really get together and say that based on how we have been behaving at all levels?
What Mr. Knight was saying, it is so, you know, it is so good because he said that basically you don't have to really take what everyone say. You can take out what good, put choose where you can choose. So it's like if they do it like that, approach it, because if you look over the years, like the Bacana say, we have a crime summit, like we have a real royal talk. This government say, well, we're not nothing like that. And it's like when everything break down and the final say they cannot push it on their own, then they put up this crime summit where Mr. Lightness and everything like that. It's like say they want to do it after their own and then cannot do it after their own. They are personal ego and Mr. Chang have to really look and see that not working. And I'm saying that Young Samuda, Mr. Chang is 70 and Mr. Chuck and those man. Young Samuda will be the security minister. I know that Mr. Howell is the Prime Minister, Most Honorable Andrew Wallace, and cannot fire Mr. Chang if the ship will turn over. But yet still, it is Young Samuda to be the Security Minister. Those men, they can really sit down now. If you can now invite court now to come and play for the West Indies team again, you must can take 11 wickets every match. So I'm saying that they can't really sit down now, Mr. Malcolm, and Young Samuda and things like that. And the Commissioner of Police is a well-paid gentleman. He's well-paid. So we need results. We need result. Listen, Mr. Malcolm.
Agreed. No, that we are agreed on that. We are agreed on that. And more of the positions, the decision-making positions, need to be such that when you sign up for the job or when you are taken on for the position, that you agree to certain targets. Both sides have to agree, though, the employer and the employee. So the employer must be clear as to what resources will be made available, on what basis will resources be made available, etc., etc. And you, in other words, both parties must agree that these are the deliverables. And we agree that if I, as police commissioner, I'm not able to lead the fight against crime in such a way that it gives people a greater sense of safety and security, then I don't know what else you put in the contract to say we'll give you 60-day notice, like Mark Golding, 60 days to you will have 60 days within which to demonstrate that you're not losing it, that you are in fact still leading the charge. If those 60 days expire and we're still not satisfied, then I'm afraid you're going to have to go, or something like that. But we have no problems with performance-based pay. And it's not so much the pay, in as far as I'm concerned, but more what we agree to doing, what we agree to achieving when we sit down to sign that contract. So we mustn't be allowed to rest easy to think, all right, you have the big contract now, just relax, let the system take care of itself, and those who are supposed to be on the front line do whatever they need to do, and everything is all right. So we agree with you. Performance, we have to have that in place.
Mr. Malcolm, one question.
Yes, hold on, please, hold on.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
We're bringing the club to you this Saturday, so get ready to blaze with us from 9 p.m. to midnight. It's Same Frequencies Clubbing. Featuring mixing by DJ Narity and DJ Xavier alongside Donovan Jakers. That's Same Frequency Clubbing, 9 p.m. to midnight. Hosted by Energizer Bunny Jenny in our Zoom VIP Watch Yourself area and live on Fame 95 FM, Hits 92 FM, and RTV, or online at onespotmedia.com and on the Fame Frequency Mixcloud channel. Fame Frequency Clubbing is sponsored by Smirnoff Vodka, the world's #1 vodka. You must be 18 years or older to drink and party with us. Drink responsibly.
Que hora es en español? Son las 4:16. Quelle heure est-il en français? Il est 4:16. 现在TDN le 4 DN 16 分. 16 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day at school today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable. And the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Yes, we'll allow you to wrap now, Curtis from Claremont St. Anne.
Yeah, just a question. Is Elon Powell still in the force and wanting DCP Hines?
I don't know. I haven't heard any talk of their retirement, but not because I haven't heard it does it necessarily mean that it hasn't happened, but I doubt it. I would have to check.
Okay. Yeah, man, and Fifth Daily will do a good job. Blessing.
Who say that again?
Fifth Daily will do a good job.
Yes, he's a good man.
Yes.
All the best.
Mr. Malcolm.
Good. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. One of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic is that we haven't been able to, some of us have used it as an excuse. There are others who life has changed for us, and so we can't work out or exercise the way we used to. And therefore, we start to live a sedentary sedentary lifestyle, which means just becoming couch potatoes, so to speak, not being physically active. And one of the programs which would have suffered, in a sense, is the Jamaica Moves in School program. And we see there's an effort now to get the Jamaica Moves in School program going once again. There's a virtual tour that is coming up, and we're going to hear more in just a moment from our guest who has been waiting patiently for quite a while, Mrs. Violet Thomas Thompson, who is the president of the Association of Principals for Primary Schools. Mrs. Thomas Thompson, good afternoon. How are you?
Great afternoon. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Thank you so much for your patience with us this afternoon and for joining us at this time on Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM.
Thank you so much for having me, and great afternoon to your listeners.
Thank you very much on their behalf. Right, so this program, Jamaica Moves in Schools, did it eventually get off the ground? Did it start off initially? I know the answer to the question, but for the benefit of our listeners, did it start off when it was supposed to begin? And at what point, if it had to be brought to a halt, did it stop? And what have been the implications of that? I know that's three questions in one. Let's take them one at a time.
Okay.
The background to the Jamaica Moves in Schools.
So yes, it did start off as it should have, and I must tell you that we were reaping successes. A number of principals and the students would have attested to the fact that this program was life-changing, not just with students, but with parents as well. It created somewhat of a different ethos in school as it relates to healthy eating and healthy activities. And we all know the benefits of those.
Oh, yes. Right. So when it happened, or when it was happening, what were the features? What are the features of the Jamaica Moves in Schools program?
Well, the features were that at different points in time, classes would break for physical activities, 5-minute breaks, and the students would be engaged in these activities. Some schools would have implemented different things as it relates to their conditions in their schools. Schools would have fruits and water day. We would have been moving away from the sweet juice, because you know that when children have too much sweet, what can happen.
Mm-hmm.
So we were moving away from that. And this was something that was really beneficial to the children. You would see schools cooking more healthier meals to include vegetables. And you know some children do not like to eat vegetables. But this program, we encouraged that, and it was working for the most part.
And with the resumption, when is the projected resumption, and how much different will the Jamaica Moves in Schools program be under these COVID-19 conditions?
Well, most schools have been doing things despite COVID because we understand the importance of having physical activities. So we would have virtual fruits and water days just the same. I know for some schools, the teachers would break for 5 minutes during the online and have students move in. One school I know have asked students to record themselves doing their favorite dance move, and then this would be played in the class, and the other students would move along with those moves. Now, what we're trying to do, as you said earlier, is to see how best we can have something going that we have the children moving just the same. We know that physical activities have been curtailed even with the resumption of face-to-face because we all know what is happening with COVID. So this initiative will be online and it will take in students from across the island. So it's not limited to any one school. All schools can log on and join in, and not just students, it's open to teachers and it's open to their parents, which is a good thing.
Well, one of the good things about this Jamaica Moves in School program is that background work was done, data was gathered with I think the Global School Health Survey.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And yes, go ahead, please.
Go ahead. Okay. So it showed that over 53% of adolescents, 13 to 15, spend more than 3 hours sitting. And we know what can happen as it relates to that. You would have had parents complaining that children are complaining for pains in their waist, pains in their knee, that sort of a thing. Also, 27% of them were physically inactive. And the other thing that we found out was that over 22% of these children would have had fast food for more than 3 days per week, while another 14% did not eat vegetables at all.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
So this program is essential.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is vital, and we are hoping and trusting that parents, teachers, other stakeholders would realize and recognize the benefit of this program and invest, get the children to be part of it, get the parents to buy into, because this is the way forward as it relates to alleviating even obesity with our children.
How involved is the Ministry of Health and Wellness in all of this? Naturally, I mean, I get the connection, which is quite evident, but in terms of some of the things that they do in support of Jamaica Moves in School?
Well, I must commend the Ministry of Health and Wellness. As a matter of fact, they are the ones who are really spearheading the project. It's a collaborative effort between us, the Jamaica Association of Principals in Primary and Infant Schools, as well as the Association of Principals of Secondary, Vice Principals and Principals of Secondary School, and the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And they have been very supportive. They provide resources for us. They even provide financial support to schools who come up with ideas how they can best serve the students as it relates to bolstering this program in their schools. Mm-hmm. So hats off to the Ministry of Health and Wellness. They have been doing their part.
And the other thing, of course, is that it's a glorious opportunity, as devastating as COVID-19 has been. It also provides us with an opportunity to check ourselves and our health as individuals and to start practicing start making the kind of lifestyle choices from a very early age, and of course, supported by parents and guardians.
Most definitely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Mm-hmm. And so now to this iteration of the Jamaica Moves in School program. When does it start? This latest installment of the program.
So we are having our first event at the Queen's School on Friday, January 28th.
That's this Friday.
This Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Starting at 3 p.m. Persons are free to log on. We're dubbing it Rep Your School, Bossa Sweat, and with prizes and surprises. And I just add to that say, boss enough sweat. Because we will only be beneficiaries of this program once we log on. And it's just a low impact 30 minutes cardio session facilitated by a fitness instructor. And as I said, it will be at the Queen School. There'll be a number of other things happening there. You'll be hearing from the host of the virtual tour, that's the principal of the Queen School. You'll be hearing from the Ministry of Health and Wellness. And it promises to be a very impactful day. I'm excited. I can't wait to see how they're moving.
Yes.
And I know the children are going to have fun. The parents are going to have fun. Teachers are going to have fun. And we just want everybody to log in, bust a sweat, and there'll be prizes and surprises for everyone.
Right. So I'm seeing that you'll be streaming via Facebook, Zoom, and YouTube. So
yes.
Do I just go to Facebook? What do I search for? Jamaica Moves in School?
Yes, definitely. And we have been promoting, so the schools would have the link.
Oh.
There's a Zoom ID. I'm sure when I'm finished, I'll just send the information.
And then I can share it.
Yes, and then you share it.
Sure. Looking forward to doing that. And how do you choose the schools? Is it like Queens is the first stop and you're going to be moving to other schools?
Yes, we're definitely going to be moving to other schools. And like I said, it's a collaborative effort. So we want to take it right across Jamaica. We have not finished working on the logistics just yet, but you will hear. Come Friday, we'll have all the information and the school, because we want it to be a surprise, really.
Oh.
We'll announce the other school, because that is what we're saying. Log in, you never know. Your school could be next.
All right. And on that note, we'll have to thank you. Thank you so much for the work that you have been doing in terms of not just the Jamaica Moves in School program, but naturally in terms of your work as an educator, Mrs. Thomas Thompson. Well done. Congratulations. And we look forward to following all the moves online on Friday.
Bless your heart, and thank you so much for having me. And the persons out there, come on now, rep your school, bust a sweat, and win enough prizes and surprises.
All right. Take care. All the best, Mrs. Violet Thomas Thompson, President of the Association of Principals for Primary Schools. There's more after the break.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30. Did you know that the National Irrigation Commission Limited is the sole authority for irrigation systems in Jamaica? The National Irrigation Commission Limited enables the improvement in agricultural productivity through the provision of efficient and affordable irrigation to farmers and other customers. Contact them 977-6624 or 977-6727 or visit their website www.nicjamaica.com.
Fine, thanks.
to learn
Hold a
more.
moment, please.
Irrigation, making the difference in agriculture.
You have it there?
The Jamaica Agricultural Commodities Regulatory Authority, JACRA, is now being onboarded to the Jamaica Single Window for Trade, J-Swift.
Oh, we have a guest.
10, 2022. J-Swift will be facilitating online applications for all JACRA import permit releases. Traders and their agents will now be able to make online payments for JACRA cess. Benefits will include faster processing times and increased convenience, facilitating trade and doing business. No more walk-ins or waiting in lines. The JACRA Import Permit Release Service, effective January 10, 2022 on J-Swift.
Jesus, Jesus, oh Jesus, oh how I love to call your name.
Tune in to Power 106 FM for the longest running religious calling program on Jamaican radio, The Prayer Line. Join Pastor Errol Hay and his team as they offer spiritual guidance and intercession grounded in biblical doctrine. Hear powerful testimonies from Jamaica and around the world. The Prayer Line, a source of support and inspiration in these trying times. That's The Prayer Line on Power 106 FM, Sundays at 6:30 p.m. Join us.
You shall live, declare the words of the Lord. Amen. You shall be a living testimony. You're on the Lord's side.
Where the hunger is ugly, where our souls are forgotten.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 27. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 5 heures moins 27. 现在几点了？5点27分. 27 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you, well, what time is it? Yes. Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to the WhatsApp line. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. How are you doing this afternoon?
I am fine, thanks. And how are things in Massachusetts?
Well, I'm not in Massachusetts right now. I'm in Jamaica.
Welcome home. Welcome home.
Thank you. I'm wrapping up my second vacation for the year and just got my COVID test to return home tomorrow afternoon. I'm happy that the test is negative. Because today we never can tell what is happening, but it's been a wonderful week, a really wonderful week.
And I'm sure you went to Haile Selassie High School.
I did. I went and I made a presentation this morning. I gave them one of those speaker boombox system that it's like a PA system, but the ones on wheel.
Yeah.
They needed one, and they had. They want one that they could move around with. So I went and I purchased one and gave it to the school. They were very happy. They made a presentation and honored me.
Oh,
I was happy to serve the school again.
Very good. Very good. Well done. Well done.
Yes. Yes.
So what's on your mind this afternoon?
Well, I just called to see how you're doing and see you're always doing a good show and that the Lord will continue to bless you. You are awesome what you do when you're here.
You're very kind. Thank you very much. It's good to hear your voice from Jamaican soil as opposed to from Massachusetts on this occasion. We wish you safe travel as you head back to Massachusetts, and well done for continuing to support your alma mater, Haile Selassie High School.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's Richie Nebar out of Massachusetts, home for some R&R, rest and relaxation, and getting ready to head back to Massachusetts, and was good enough to make another presentation to his school, Haile Selassie High School. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story. Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. A couple of messages we missed earlier on. Lady Jean in Monique St. Anne says, good afternoon, Dervan, the team and listeners. I'm happy to be tuned in. The caller from the UK, how profound and refreshing, as you noted, a reflection of many of those who share the same sentiments. Sadly so. We need to work at changing this. Bless you. Bless you too, Lady Jean and Monique St. Anne. Paul in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Good day to you. Thank you very much for tuning in. I gather the pen relays will be on this year. We'll see how that goes. Champs is still on. And in New York, the Grace Jamaican Jerk Festival will be taking place this year. So too, the Florida leg of that festival. We'll see. Lots of events coming into seemingly, I don't know, maybe everybody or the planners have been privy to some information with respect to COVID-19, and they've been going full steam ahead. Let's see what happens. We wish them well. All the best. Let's clear some more messages. Greetings, says Dr. Renee Williamson. Read that one already. Reviolence prevention. We can learn best practices by at Nat Pete at the safety box. London Mayor Sadiq Khan has been using them in London's violence reduction unit. Natalie Winter says, good afternoon all. Happy New Year to our caller, especially Rastafari brother. Stay safe, my friend. Pleasant evening, Dervan. Keep listening to you from Bleaky, Washington Gardens. Well, so it is. Thank you very much, Natalie. Inez Iona Campbell, good afternoon to you. Also, Beresford Henriquez says, American chicken back no good for you. It's better that you cannot get it than you get it and it kill you. We don't know of chicken back killing anybody, Beresford Henriquez, unless it's laced with cyanide or some other deadly chemical. Outside of that, we don't know of chicken back, or if it's improperly prepared or stored. Outside of that, you should be just fine. Mary Helix says full ads view, full video view. If two ads appear, do both ads and take screenshot of each ad you view, then take screenshot of video view. If ads or video longer than 4 minutes, you can ski. King Abaddon music. All right. Thank you very much for your message, King Abaddon. And let's see who else is online here. Apparently, we have some trolls online as well. So let's see. Let's go down the line. And let's go to this one. Me like you live a while ago, my lord, King Abaddon, for life. All right, all kinds of messages. Dr. Williamson says KD Knight is echoing what Dr. Z just said. Also argues for executive leadership in our government. Ricardo says, have a safe journey back home. Same to you, Ricardo. Lovely show again, he says. Okay, I don't know. Mary Helix, I'm not sure what you're getting at. I think you have the wrong program. I'm not understanding what you're trying to say. Not understanding what you're trying to say. But thank you for your message nonetheless. Let's go to, whoa, look at the WhatsApp line. Jeez. The WhatsApp. Let's clear these messages. James in East London has shared with us this news clip. Boris Johnson faces MPs before Sue Gray report released. And thank you for that update, James in East London. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy Wednesday to you and your listeners. The decision by the Ministry of Agriculture to import, well, we don't know that a decision has been made just yet. It has been put on the table as a possible option. But anyway, to import parts to ease the pressure on the consumer sounds good. But what of the small farmers who depend on the $100 and the $50 chicken that they depend on to survive? It would be better if the government subsidizes the small farmers so they will be able to sell the chicken meat cheaper to the consumers. From Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. Well, as we've said already a few times, Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary, those who will be involved in the decision-making process need to be very surgical. They need to be surgical. They need to be methodical. They need to be meticulous. They need to be scientific. They need to be design-oriented in their approach. They need to be very careful. All views must be taken into consideration. All the stakeholders must be at the table. And let's see what comes out of that coming together, that collaboration. Gloria Gibbs, otherwise known as Moralist, says, Mr. Dervan, good afternoon. Believe me, the Lord is looking for men to stand in the gap leaders who will stand while the heavens fall. The greatest want of the world is the want of men, men who will not be bought or sold, men who in their inmost souls are true and honest, men who do not fear to call sin by its right name, men whose conscience is as true to duty as the needle to the pole, men who will stand for the right though the heavens fall. Thank you very much, Moralist, for your message on WhatsApp. Hello to Ambassador Curtis Ward. Introduction to Real Talk with Ambassador Curtis Ward. Looks like he has a new podcast that is coming along. You can Google Curtis Ward or Ambassador Ward or The Ward Post to get more information. Another message here. This is from Eddie Goff. And let's see what Eddie Goff is saying here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. Eddie Goff says, Mr. Malcolm, sir, we here in Canada who have found your program meaningful and informative are feeling cheated. You have given toll-free privileges to many other countries but us. We have many school associations here which are faithful contributors to their alma mater there and would welcome that privilege. Thank you, Eddie Goff. Eddie Goff, we didn't have any say in that. The station has two numbers, one for the USA and one for Canada, for people who want to listen to Power 106 FM. So it's not call-in numbers, it's for those who want to listen. But we'll be happy to feature all the schools, all the alumni associations in Canada. In fact, we have been featuring them anyway. But feel free to give us a call at 876-365-3346, 876-365-3346.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45.
Just face is always well hidden. Where the hunger is ugly, where souls are.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 5 menos 15, que la retiro en français, les 5 heures moins 15. 现在地点了5点差15分. 15 minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM. It's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Here's a message from Eureka. Eureka says, good afternoon, Dervan. It's a known fact that many of the countries that were once ruled by England fought for and in some cases demanded their independence from the colonial masters because they were of the view that they could do a better job than the colonial masters. I've lived in the Cayman Islands for years, and I've seen a lot of countries that are still ruled by Britain, and I have to agree with some of your callers earlier that Jamaica would have been better off being ruled by our colonial masters. It's sad that I have to say this, but we have made a mess of our independence, and we don't seem to be getting any better. I'm saddened by the opposition People's National Party for the stance they're taking with crime, because if they were in power, they would want the support to bring down crime. But as usual, we're playing politics with people's lives. It's a pity we can't light a candle, sing a Sankey, and find our way back to Britain. It's not that I love England, but our two parties have failed us miserably. Thank you very much, Eureka. Naturally, that will always spark debate. And there are arguments on both sides. There are those who can show results in terms of what this government or that government has done at this time or that time in our history, etc. But in the final analysis, it will all come out in the wash, so to speak, in the sense that the history is still being documented. as we speak. And those who come behind us, well, may those who come behind us find us faithful in our stewardship of this country, Jamaica, land we love. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. Good afternoon. Roy Lawrence says, yes, Mr. Malcolm. No, well, let's go to the earlier message. Good day, Mr. Malcolm. You say the children of the perpetrators of injustice should not bear the guilt of their forefathers. If so, no benefit should be given for that period. What do you think? No benefit given by whom? For what? Give us a little more on that. And then Roy Lawrence says, yes, Mr. Malcolm, we need to find guns. We can't afford to lock up all the gunmen. Get the tools, then fix the social problem. Thank you very much for your message, Roy Lawrence. Let's go to Andrew Davis. Andrew Davis says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. My argument today is that I've traveled on the toll road and I always wondered how come north-south leg doesn't seem to be maintained. It's overgrowing with shrubs and a lot of garbage. Over to the members of the management team of that section of the highway. This one says, everyone chatting up their mouth, throwing blame game, and the gunmen just up the ante with double and triple shootings nowadays. Who remember when then Prime Minister Bruce Golding was passing through a particular community one evening and it was on TV news where shots were blazing on? That goes to show gunmen never cared, and we've been tackling crime for too long now. Thank you for your message. Ralph says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. You're so right about the playing of politics by our politicians. In fairness to the current administration, they don't trace the opposition in the vulgar way I've seen done in a previous administration. Really. I remember early in 2015, Derek Smith, then opposition spokesman on national security, raised concerns about the 15% increase in murder. The current co-leader of the PNP and then Minister of National Security unleashed volley after volley of broadside on the Jamaica Labour Party GLP leadership, have been behaving like a set of, well, we're not going to call that term there, gleefully reacting to every loss of life as an opportunity to gain political mileage. I hope Dayton is not going back to those days because he's much better than that. And that's in reference to some comments made by Dr. Dayton Campbell with respect to Bobby Montague. Cuban in Georgia asks, how can we have Jamaica 60 independent and our citizens still eating this bad fish back? If that's the reality, that's the reality. We're not into the business of hiding anything here. The world needs to know. Errol in Spanish Town says, hi, Dervan, I'm in support of the Minister of Agriculture to import chicken parts. Definitely, it's a good move. We can't buy chicken anymore. 10% increase pending. How are we going to manage? Asks Errol in Spanish Town. And Norman Wright of the Sipper Cuppa line of teas and Tops Teas is greeting us. Good afternoon to you, Norman Wright. And here is a rare call these days from Driver in America on WhatsApp. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hearing you loud and clear.
Yes, I'm blessed New Year to you, my brother. You know, unfortunately, I haven't been able to catch up with you, but I still tune in. You know.
No, man, that's fine. That's fine. Either way, as long as you're working, that's fine. Keep working.
Yes. Tell brother Richie, if it before night come down, if you can go outside and pack an extra, well, suitcase, not grip, of sunshine to carry come back, because last weekend I was up in Massachusetts and it's bitter. I can't put it any better than that. But anytime any of us can touch down and, you know, enjoy the experience and contribute to the upliftment of our people, as the national pledge said, I salute that. You know what I mean? So big up, brother Richie. Yes.
Yes.
Dervan,
Yes.
on the issue of linguistics, I've heard it so many times, and I had a professor that explained it one time
but I forgot Spanish. Using that TH as in cabeza and stuff like that, positioning the tongue differently to pronounce the word, which can otherwise. He said it was like a mark of your education level or something like that. Could you remind me what exactly that is about?
Well, I'm not sure I'm getting what you're saying, but what I know is that there's a pronunciation guide, and the pronunciation guide is very clear about what happens when certain letters are combined, and the expected pronunciation when that happens.
Because he was talking about Castilian, Spanish, and
Oh
other
yes.
stuff like that.
There is a difference. So, for example, and I do it sometimes when I'm doing the introduction to the program in Spanish.
You're doing it, so that's why I was inquiring.
So that's the Castilian. You're perfectly correct. That's the Castilian way, as opposed to the Spanish in Latin America, as opposed to the Spanish in another part of the world. Or the Spanish from Spain itself. Yeah, it's a Castilian. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
A long time I left school, and the head, how it goes. So,
No, man, you're sharp. I've heard more than enough from you to know that you have benefited from a good education.
Starting right here, Jamaica, miss no education. Believe me, my brother, you know me, nothing like it.
Yes, indeed.
Captivating man. Brother Dervan, you remember I spoke to you about public health, my daughter, thank goodness she get ready to graduate now. And she is doing an internship with someone who is a health literacy and health communication expert.
Wow.
I'm asking, because it came to me after reasoning with her, if we have established such a post in dealing with the COVID, or have we just been dependent upon whomever has a MD or whatever behind the name to come and try to...
Hold on. I want to just repeat the full title there. I want to make a note of it.
Health literacy
Health
and health communication expert.
Literacy and health communication expert. I don't know if we have such a person or such a position in Jamaica. I've never heard it or never heard of it, but
yes.
Yeah.
In reasoning with her, because she's pointed to the problem where a lot of times we figure, from you're an MD or anything like that, you can speak on this issue, but it is actually a dedicated discipline, especially in third world countries, and she's working with like First Nation populations up there, people where the uptake is not that great.
Oh.
Go ahead, please, sir.
No, I'm saying, I'm getting it now. Yes.
Yeah, because you need somebody who that is your specialty.
Yes.
And if you remember, I have been kind of speaking about this without having the knowledge at that what I'm talking about. No.
Yeah.
Because we need to, it's like we have to break it. We can't assume that the people are going to just understand it. And we have it even here in the big United States, as you like to say, a lot of illiteracy regarding the issue of the virus and stuff like that. And I think it is we really, if you could just look into it and see if we're really paying attention as far as that approach is concerned,
Yeah. Thank you for raising that. Thank you. We have made a note of it.
Yeah, the last one, sir.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Brother Dervan, I come from a time before White Fall, the 8-week fall. My father died and said would have never eat it because it's not right to fall mature so quickly. We grew up with the, countryman, and I'm sure even in the city, because when I come and visit, you see people with them little fall cup, with them little...
Yes, man. The brown ones, you're talking the brown chickens?
Yeah, brown fall, running fall.
Yes.
Yes, and what I'm saying is corn we used to feed them on. quickly, scientific research council, because the last corn I planted is 2001. Get a good reaping. But you don't just want to take any corn seed. It's like special seed. It's a special man. I forget his name now. In past, bless his soul, up in Frontierland, Goshen, St. Elizabeth. But you get a good corn seed, and the Scientific Research Council, if they, I know they're doing this kind of research, some corn that can grow, you know, the same field corn. It's the same corn we used to boil before sweet corn and everything coming up. We had the chicken eating the same thing, you know, brother Dervan. It's just that we used to dry it and grind it and feed the chicken, you know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah.
But it's the same corn. Yes, the same corn everybody was eating, for the human being, everybody, you know. So what I'm saying is, if the Scientific Research Council, especially them, could get, I've heard other people talk about seed banks and stuff like that, but that kind of seed and distributed to the people of the island instead of this money all the way. Anybody, you know, then you don't know, well, you're diverse. Them use all us about some plant piece of card, no matter how it. And the people till they kill people, but anywhere, you know, I heard somebody, I think it's Metro, speak about the sugar land. That's ideal land for growing corn.
We're going to have to continue the discussion. We're going to have to continue the discussion, and perhaps you might want to engage Althea Mackenzie on Farm Talk on the subject as well. But for the time being, we're out of time. Thank you very much. Good to hear from your driver. Please continue to be safe on those roads in America.
Thank you. I'm Richie, get ready for the call.
All right. You sound happy you're going to have company. Richie is coming back to join you in a matter of speaking. We're out of time. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
It's a hard, it's a hard rain. It's a falling.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
5 o'clock.
News, comprehensive, powerful, and credible.
Power 106 FM now presents a simulcast of Radio Jamaica's news at 5.
Bye.
Good afternoon. I am Dervan Gordon. Coming up in the news segment of Beyond the Headlines today,